Okay guys, now welcome to the most important part, Node.js. I am like you will be just brushing your JavaScript before just to learn Node.js. So everything you can do in JavaScript you can do in Node.js. So that's why it's called Node.js. So let me just tell you a little bit history. Like it was developed by Ryan of like he was a Google engineer. So he thought like when we can have a JavaScript in the front end, now like what built a language which can also works on the backend also, same with the JS. So he just built a C++ code and merge with like V8 engines. Like Chrome runs on V8 engine, and like every browser runs their own engine. So what does the engine does? Engine like just whatever your JavaScript code is written is just compile it to and like change into machine language code, because machine just understands 0 1, so that's why we can see stuff. So that's a little bit. Then after that, when he merged C++ and V8 with then it came node.exe. After with like slowly it became Node.js. And it was not that Node.js someone tried like JS to make it on the backend side. Like there was Netscape also, they tried. Netscape, you know, it's a company, but they weren't that successful, or it may fail, whatever happened. But Node.js became as a successful alternative of backend with the same JS platform. And why JS? Like if you have heard, Node.js is like the most popular language if you go to backend, because like it's asynchronous by default, but still you have to but whenever you have to do any asynchronous operation, you have to write by yourself. But by default it's asynchronous, like if you are like fetching the database. And in JavaScript, if you are fetching, it's taking time, you will wait, then again any other fetch come, then either you have to tell okay, wait for some time, like that. But in Node.js it's asynchronous, so it will just okay, it's taking time, let's move to another code and we'll just do that stuff. And you don't have to do asynchronous in that stuff, because it's handled by Node.js only. Like if you have 1,000 applications logging at one time, but still Node.js can handle. And now comes the difference. What's the difference between Node.js and JS? So it's totally same, just there are few differences. Like we don't have a browser in Node.js, so we can't access like window properties like document dot and window dot and fetch. Like fetch was also a uh, like your browser API only, so we just can't access those properties. Apart from that, in Node.js runs on command line, basically on one system. So basically you can just access the file systems. In JavaScript it was not possible, like you can access a file system. And JavaScript a little more complicated. Maybe some of your modern JavaScript code is running on one browser, but it may not run on another browser, and then it may not run on third browser. Then you have to write a code which like directly runs in every browser. But in Node.js you just have to write once time in the backend, and it will like run everywhere. You don't have to, because it just outsourcing whatever you need. And if something is wrong, so front-end engineer had to take care of that. So backend is just built one time, and we just have versions in Node.js and all that stuff. So let's just see how you can download. Just say Node.js and go to first website. Now you can see download for Windows automatically came, and if you have like Mac OS or Linux, it will come here. And you can change directly download for Mac OS or Linux also. You can see you can come here for Mac OS, and you have for Linux also, whatever you want. So you can just use that. You can see Linux binaries, Mac OS, Linux source code. So I just downloaded source code like by mistake. So then there are two options. Whatever firstly you select, it will auto select what your operating system have, but I mean you can select by yourself also. Going here, suppose there are two options, LTS and current. So what does LTS stand for? LTS means long term support. Long term support, like it will have a support for long term, and it's like already built, and will if there are any error, and they'll just keep maintaining it, their code. But current is more like it's the current version, like everything has a version, no? So like Android version 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, same way 16 is the current version. So it's not recommended because it's not currently in the support mode, and it can have some errors, but mostly we'll just download 14 only and everything should work. And 16, if for this tutorial if you're downloading 16, then there's no problem because like mostly thing will work. But I'll suggest you everyone download LTS only for their development and other stuff. And the version may be different, maybe obviously you'll be watching at a later point of time, then 16 may be here and 40 and there should be 18, whatever number. So whatever number you have, just download the LTS one. So you can see, I mean, depending on your net speed, it will download quickly. And I have already downloaded, like installed, obviously I'm using that, but I'll install it again. Now it's downloaded. Now let's just finish whatever they are doing. Okay, and open. It's doing something, and yeah, so will give us something like this: computing space requirements. Please wait. Migrating feature state from related applicants. You just have to open, and you like normal application you install. I mean, you know that like next install. That's the way. Then license agreement you have to do. Nobody reads that. Next, then your destination. You can come here and change where you want. So I'll say in program files only. And Node.js, I'll say next. And Node.js runtime, I'll say next. Then they automatically install necessary tools. Note that this will also install Chocolatey. The script will pop up in a new window after. So I'll just say okay, automatically install necessary modules. And next, click install to begin installation. I'll say install. So I've already installed. It may show me, maybe, I don't know, like you have already installed. Let's just see, but I think it will install. And okay, it's like asking for access, so I'll say yes. Again, it's computing space requirements, validating, install, and it will be quickly installed. Updating, removing files. And going backup file. So like if you are still confused different between JS and Node.js, so JS is like which runs on the browser only, and Node.js which runs outside the browser on your command lines. Command line, I think you have studied C++ obviously in your college, so which runs on command line, that's the only difference. Finish. Now we'll get something like this for installing additional tools. We click there, so we'll say you don't need an additional tool, like you can afterwards install, but I'll suggest you install at that time, and they'll require like around 3 GB of free disk space. So we'll just say continue. Now I think they are installing additional tools. We'll say okay, let them access it. Then they open my PowerShell. Downloading. Now they are downloading a bunch of stuff. I don't know. Chocolatey, local machine, path environment, and they are using Python is not installing, but Python was installed. My okay, Python I can't like remember it was installed, but I think now they need Python also, because when you will download some libraries, then there will be a dependency with other language. Mostly with Python I have seen, like in most of the language Python has a dependency. So if you are confused between like what I'll say, library and framework, what is library, what is framework, and what is language. So language is like Node.js, JavaScript, React is a library by the way, and Go and Flutters, Java. So these are languages. Then inside that we have two things, library and framework. So library is those piece of code like which can perform minimal work. Like libraries are those like which doesn't like do a lot of stuff, just a minimal stuff. But if we say for the framework, you can see a big library, like a, if a library having 100 lines of code, then the framework will have 1,000 lines or 10,000 lines of code. Just that difference. I mean, framework has a lot more options as compared to a library, and that's the like only difference if you'll see between a library and what you say framework. And Express.js, which are we going to study next part, we'll have like not next part, I mean after the Node.js completion, we'll have like Express.js is a framework, and we are going to use bunch of libraries. So just don't get confused what are libraries and what are what to say framework. And there's something called modules also. So you can say modules is more like a library only, like in Python we call it library also and modules also. But modules, so is that also called when you write a piece of code in another file, and in the main file you are just accessing that code which is written in another file. That is also called as a module. Like, okay, I have this module. Or you can say libraries or also a module, because that also in a separate file install you are just accessing it. So these were some like basic stuff you need to know like about before studying Node.js. And they are still downloading a lot of stuff. So okay, they are showing you approved, completed, like that stuff. Okay, now 7 MB of file they are downloading catalog. And yeah, VS Build Tools, hash match, installing Visual Studio 2017. And let me just pause it for a minute or so till then it install. Okay guys, now the installation has been done. So your command prompt or terminal, whatever was opened, will automatically get closed. Now to check whether it has successfully installed or not, so we'll just open command prompt. Or you can, if you are in Linux, you use terminal, in Mac OS terminal, or in Windows you can use command prompt, or you can use also what we say PowerShell. So you just open. Now here we'll say node, N-O-D, node. So you can see, let me make it a bigger. You can say, you'll say node and you say dash v. So dash v, you are saying version. So if I say it can get, okay, it will be, the text will be on the same side. So I have just written node dash v. So v stands for version, to check whether it's successfully installed or not. If I press enter, so I'm getting a version 14.17.5, and here we have also have the same version 14.17.5. So that means my Node.js got successfully installed. Now if I want to run something in Node.js, okay, Node.js installed, I want to run something. So there are two methods. First is REPL, which stands for read, eval, print, loop. Second is CLI. So firstly, like we'll say REPL, and we are going to use REPL only once in our lifetime. But yeah, in like if you want to do something quickly and check, then you can use REPL. So what we do, we just say node and press enter. You can see we got an arrow. See this arrow where we can write our codes. And here we'll say constant. So you know already JavaScript, I have explained you. So here everything is cell, we say name equals to, I'll say hello. We press enter, undefined, I'll say name, we get hello. So this is how you can work in REPL, but you can know now I can't just edit this stuff. So now we'll see the next method for that, and we'll use that method only. For that, let me close this stuff and let me go to my computer, or close the task manager also, go to E, and we'll make a new folder, say Node.js tutorial. Okay guys, open this. Now we'll say open with code, this folder, or how you wanna open. We'll just open. Now here we'll take a file and write everything in files. So if I take the file name is app .js. So .js is the extension because we are going to obviously write Node.js. Save it. Now we'll say constant name equals to hello, and here we'll say console.log hello name. So like in normal JavaScript we do define constant variable like this and print variable like this. So here also we are printing like this. We'll just save it. See, and now how to run this? We'll just go back to our terminal. So if you are in Windows, just click here and open CMD, like write CMD, click it. Now the same folder will open. You don't have to go to CD to that particular folder where your file is. Now I'll just say node, like firstly I'm going to node and say app.js. okay, click enter. Now hello got printed. So this is how so easy. But suppose node is not installed in your system or something happened, so if you'll get error like I'm writing wrong spelling node s. So if you press enter, you'll get node is not recognized as an internal or external command, like node is not installed. But if everything will light, you'll just enter node and you can just go to the REPL. And if I to exit, you can just press Ctrl plus C or Z. Yeah, you can see. To exit, press Ctrl C again or Ctrl D or type. Here you can see that. Or type dot exit. So if I just go here and say dot exit, you can exit like that also. Okay. So this is the way you can run it. But suppose you that so irritating, you have to go to command prompt. But I use command prompt basically. You can just directly run from VS Code also. Here you say go to run, or you see terminal is there. So you just say new terminal, or you can open with Control Shift plus literal. So let's just open like that way, Control Shift and literals. You can see our terminal got open, and the folder name is same, e-node.js terminal. And basically it's not a command prompt, it's a PowerShell. So but in real life you won't get any difference in PowerShell and command prompt, but that's the one thing I want to tell you. That now here also I can say node app.js. You can see we run it. Now here we can just add a plus and have a second terminal, like opening two command prompts. Here it was first, then you just delete it. See, now supposedly if we like you can see launch profile, you can say launch directly to command prompt. You can open command prompt. We can see, you can see a bunch of stuff. Okay guys, now suppose you just let me just show you some writing if else. So if I say constant amount equals to 12, now here we'll say if amount is greater than 10, console.log, let me open curly braces, then say amount is bigger, else I'll say amount is not bigger. Save it. Now again if you want to run it, we'll just come here, say node app.js, and we can say amount is bigger. If I say 10, we have to save this, then we'll say amount is not bigger. If we say 40 and amount is bigger. So there is one thing, if you suppose going downwards, so your a little code just goes in the scroll part, and most of the part is taken by terminal, so you can just squeeze it also, but still you want to see a bunch of stuff. So that's why I don't prefer terminals. like VS Code terminals. If you want to quickly check something, that's another part, but it's up to you what you want to prefer. But generally I prefer command prompt because you get the whole screen. Here you can see I can get the whole screen. I can just write whatever code, and here we can check what's happening. Now I'll say node app.js. See, amount is bigger, so I don't have to like show terminal and to take terminal the whole space. You can see. Yeah, so this was basic about Node.js and installation, introduction, all that stuff. So from the next part we'll start some complicated things.